Yes, hello, I'm Malta. Today I wanted to share a bit about myself from my perspective. 7 years ago, we decided to emigrate from Germany, specifically from the beautiful regions of southern Germany, to settle in Cairns, Australia. Stuttgart-Heilbronn area, to be precise. We've been here in Cairns for 7 years now, have settled in, and have already experienced a variety of things. Catherine has already shared a bit in her videos about a home birth that we experienced here. And of course, a bit of a look back as well, since we've been here. All the things that have happened in our lives, in our adventures, because we've also been on the road, traveling here for 18 months. And today I wanted to contribute my part to that. And among other things, that was possible because I was able to work remotely. So I've been working in the consulting sector for a long time now. Originally, I started out as an automotive mechanic in an automotive corporation. And then later I went back to university, to the University of Applied Sciences, and I studied social work. Later on, also in Australia, I received recognition as a mental health social worker, the accreditation as they call it here. And of course, I've also been working in this field here for many, many years. Altogether, I've been in this field for 25 years. As I said, that's how we were able to travel around as well. Here in Australia, we spent 18 months, a year and a half, traveling with an off-road caravan, an off-road vehicle to all sorts of remote corners of Australia. What I always needed was simply a good internet connection. Phone connection is the only hurdle. Of course, I can imagine that this can be rather difficult, but you can equip yourself for that as well. Back then, we had a really good setup in the caravan and car, which made it possible to connect from almost anywhere. That was before Starlink, or just as Starlink was starting up. Today it's even easier. Yes, as I said, that allowed us to still generate an income so we could travel around and experience a lot. Our little one also experienced and learned a lot. Back then he was still little, 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old. And yes, he picked up the language, English, incredibly quickly. They're bilingual, our two. Yes, exactly. As I said, I've already experienced all sorts of things. Back then, I worked as a process consultant again at the same automotive company, dealing with management consulting, implementation, group work, and so on, accompanying the entire process as a process consultant. Or later on, then came the time back then, the first time going to Australia with my then wife. I have 2 children from my first marriage. They live in Brisbane. That was also the reason for coming back here, because at that time we returned to Germany. And I was also in Germany for 10 years again after that. Unfortunately, we separated back then, but then, together with my current partner, I eventually came back here to Australia, specifically to the city of Cairns in this particular case. Yes, also with, or mainly because, my grown children were here and I simply wanted to be closer, to be in closer contact again. Yes, as I said, we now have 2 children together with my current partner, with Catherine. They are 2 and 6 years old, and professionally, as I mentioned, what has always helped me is the flexibility of what I do. I've worked in all sorts of areas, from assisting people with disabilities to supporting and accompanying Aboriginal people, so in that field. I have provided psychosocial counselling in Aboriginal communities. I have been involved with the topic of EAP for a long time, that is, employee assistance in various organisations, both private and governmental, so private banks, government, all sorts of areas with governmental affiliation. And mainly at the moment, this is my focus. War veterans. Through the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, I am assigned to work with various clients whom I provide dedicated support and assistance to. They receive weekly or bi-weekly counseling sessions from us, either by phone, video conference, or video sessions. And that's mainly what I'm currently involved with. As I previously mentioned to you, I typically use this small home office right here, which also conveniently serves as our guest room to handle all of my daily professional work. We both work from home, which is simply very practical, especially when it comes to family and small children. We're simply more flexible and can respond whenever something is needed. We also want to share more in the future on other topics like what kind of educational ideas we have for our children, what we want to pursue, and what our plans are. Those are our ideas. And also on the topic of emigrating, flexibility, what are the hurdles and difficulties when you set out to do that, and what are the opportunities? Maybe that's also why our channel is called If Not Now. I think it's often about just overcoming that hurdle. Simply saying, I feel an impulse, I feel that I want to try something new. So, if not now, then just get started. Security is always a topic. What kind of security is there? Of course, when we emigrated back then, many people asked, what are you doing there? Do you already have a house? Do you already have a job? It's hard for many people to hear, no, we don't. We first have to go and see. But I think that's exactly the point. Just go for it, see what happens, give it a try. If you didn't have that urge, you probably wouldn't even be watching this video. If you have the idea, I want to do something different, I want to try something new, a different country, a different job, something else, whatever it may be. Yeah, so we want to give you a bit of inspiration and take a look at what that could actually look like. How can you get started with something like that? How can you try something new in that area? Or what can I simply do with what I already bring to the table? What's possible there? Yeah, so as I said, those are the ideas for the future, for the channel, or also for what I want to contribute from my side. And we're just looking forward to what's still to come.